There we go.
Okay. Hi, it's Lauren Abrams, 52 Weeks of Hope, and I'm so excited that we have Natha from Electra. Oh my gosh, I just got the name of your astrology.
Oh yeah, Electra
Astrology. Yeah,
Astrology.
yeah,
You
yeah,
got
yeah.
it.
Here, and if you didn't get a chance to see her episode, it's amazing. And we get to talk about a few of the things that everything is happening for your highest good. And she has the best YouTube channel and weekly updates. So if you don't get that, and first, let me let you introduce yourself.
Hi. So yeah, like you said, my name is Natha and I am an astrologer for my business, Electra Astrology. And yeah, I mean, you and I are so in alignment, Lauren, because that is what I'm always looking to help translate and help everybody understand is how do we use astrology for our highest good without getting freaked out about it and without resting too much on the surface? How do we get in there and really use it as a tool for like navigating our lives?
Yeah, and this week's your YouTube at the end of it, and you're talking about the planets, the alignment, and everything. And even if you know nothing about that, at the end of that, you say, "And this is a good time if money wasn't an issue, and you could do anything you wanted. What would that be?" But I feel like that should always be the question,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So why is this a good time? Although I think it should always be a good time to be working towards that at least.
Yeah. Well, we have, what the astrology, what's happening right now is that we're all being asked to really evolve and evolve towards the things that really bolster our sense of worthiness and self-worth. And, money goes along with that, relationships, love, like it all falls under the same umbrella astrologically, which is under Taurus. So we are in Taurus season. We've got some planets, some really strong planetary energy in Taurus. And, you know, we should always be moving toward what is in our highest good and what is exciting and what brings us pleasure. But that's not always so easy because we can get really trapped in our fears and in our stories about how things go. And then even in our conditioning, like I don't know how to make enough money or other people have more than I do. But the astrology is really supportive right now of noticing those stories, those same old limiting beliefs that pop up in your field and discarding them and really moving toward, what would I do if money and time and education were of no consideration? What would I be doing with my life? Because it's kind of like make or break. Like, are we going to just kind of plod through staying at medium speed? Or do you really want to up level? Because powerful time to up level, but in order to do that, you have to let go of some of those fears that pop in that tell you that you can't up level.
Yeah. And what are you, I love talking about letting go of fears, but I want to hear from you suggestions of how people can let go of fears and their limiting beliefs.
Well, I think the first thing is that you have to realize how pervasive they are because we, walk through fears, take the risk, reap the rewards. I love that. Yeah. I mean, we have to identify that it's there. And so many of our fears are so unconscious. They developed when we were really young. So now is also a great time to be noticing like, wow, that is actually something that is coming up. So the astrology is pointing those things out to us right now too. We're all getting delivered sort of the bulk of our work. So what have, as you're listening, what has been presenting itself to you maybe over and over, or maybe just once or twice and it's felt like, wow, that was a huge insight around a behavior that you have that kind of keeps yourself small, keeps yourself diminished. What is the universe showing you? What's your higher self bringing to you? Because that is really the fear or the group of fears that you want to be looking at. Like, I'm going to notice when this comes up so that I don't have to sink down into the dark hole of it. I can like say, nope, I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. Or the repetitive relationship patterns, they may really show up now is what I got from listening to your recent YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, that's the things that are repetitive are the things that really get us because they kind of weave their way into everything that we do. So notice that too, wow, I do this all the time. Why?
Yeah. It could be in work. It could be in any type of situation. So what else is showing up a lot right now? I know you said the technical things or all the little, it's always, you know what? It's we hear it a lot. It's not the elephant in the living room. It's the ants in the kitchen. It's the little things, all these little things, right? And maybe there's a reason that it's all these little things right now.
Yeah. Well, we're heading into a Mercury retrograde. So if you guys have heard of that, I think it's something that gets talked about a lot right now. But Mercury retrograde is the invitation to really look at the details of your life and how they inform your perception of your life. So it's a lot of our thoughts, the repetitive thoughts, and even the things that we watch on a daily basis. Like if you're somebody that watches the news, or your social media feed is curated to bring you a certain like genre of information, you want to be, again, aware of like, what is it that is informing me about the world? Because there's a lot of stuff happening in the world right now that we could get really freaked out about, could really stoke our fears. But you want to be careful. Like, do I really want to go there? Because first of all, you're working to release your own fears. So it's sort of, I use this example a lot. Like when I was a teenager, I used to watch scary movies, horror movies with my girlfriends. And then I would be terrified. Like I'd be at a house babysitting and it was like every noise, I was like, oh, there's an axe murderer. And so, you learn like, hey, don't watch scary movies because they're just going to stoke your own fears. So that's kind of like for all of us, is don't watch scary stuff. Don't allow things into your field that are going to stoke your fears, because we're looking to release the fears so that we can move towards what is more useful and valuable. And so this Mercury retrograde is going to be helping us identify what are the things that sneak into my field, into my life and my conversations that always leave me feeling like, oh, I don't like that. Whether it's gossip or watching the news, all of the clickbait, like just be really awake and aware of the impact of the world out there on your own consciousness, because you want to be growing, not huddled in the corner like, it's an axe murderer.
Yeah, exactly. A good analogy. And I like to create a white light around me. And now I was thinking it was you that said this, but now I'm thinking it was somebody else who vibrates also at a very high frequency, who said she creates a rose-colored light around her. And I was like, oh, that's so great. So I guess we can create whichever color works for us. So as that protection from a lot of that.
Yeah. So. I mean, you can protect yourself in all of these different ways. And, it's not even like you necessarily need the protection.
Yeah.
But it's really, if you're somebody that just needs to have that feeling of like, I'm protected. Yeah. You can use like Archangel Michael's cobalt blue cloak. Yeah. You can have a white light or a rose colored light kind of surround you. You can envision yourself in like one of those bubbles, like the Good Witch in the Wizard of Oz comes floating in on, anything that you can do to protect your, sort of the clarity of your energy is really good at this time.
So how can somebody who's listening align with their highest self and their highest good?
Well, I think part of it is making sure to schedule in some time when you're just alone. Whether you're walking outside in nature or you're in the bathtub, water is a really good way to kind of purge yourself. Because a lot of us, especially that would be listening to this, might identify as being an empath, which means that we feel other people's emotions, and we feel when there's heightened fear in the world, right? We can feel it and we take it on as our own, which is hard. It makes us a little heavier. So anytime that you can be in your own space where it's just you and you can come back to yourself, where it's like, I'm not being so impacted by your mood and by your conversation. I'm just like taking a deep breath. I'm coming back into my body and getting oriented to where I am right now. And that kind of helps give you a baseline.
Yeah, definitely. I have a good, I do this like cleansing meditation where I just imagine all the energies are leaving me. And anyway, it's nice to do that. I also have been doing a lot of loving kindness and compassion type meditations and listening to that. But I think journaling and just like you said, getting quiet and being aware is good. How does somebody find a good teacher, a mentor, besides getting obviously their chart read by you and being aware that way and listening to your YouTubes, but just finding those mentors and teachers to help guide them? Do you have any ideas about that?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I think that a lot of, like, we need guidance.
Yeah.
We can't just rest on our own knowledge, because half the time we're like, oh, a white light around me? Wow, that's a great idea. I hadn't thought of that. But, I love Instagram. I've found some really, really amazing teachers on Instagram. I think that there are a few teachers that I know that I follow that I really like. There are some amazing podcasts. I'm sure, Lauren, that you've had some people on your podcast that can guide you. So I would say, if you know that you'd like something else, some guidance, that start on your social media feed, or start looking, listening to your favorite podcaster, look down the list of interviews, and, the universe does bring you what you ask for. So to just intentionally say, hey, I just need somebody or some teachings or some guidance for how to really come back to myself and not get so hooked into my fears. And, how am I going to build the world, the life, the money, the physical experience that I really want right now?
Yeah, that's good. And you talked about how you even created your friends, the new friends. And it's true, because once we put it out there, the universe does respond. I don't know how, but it just does. I have enough life experience to say, yeah, it really does. It works that way. And it's kind of an amazing thing. Okay, for somebody that's new at tapping into their intuition, and they're like, I think this is it. Or do you have any guidance for that?
Well, I always say start, like, your body tells you a lot. Your body gives you a lot of clues, where your brain is really, it's programmed, right? So try not to listen to your thoughts. Try to just listen to your body, and your body will give you very instantaneous feedback. So if something doesn't feel right, or you get a contraction, sometimes when I'm in a reading with a client and they're trying to make a decision, I'll give them both versions of the decision. And what does it feel like when you think about taking the job? And it's like, if they say, oh, it feels really exciting. Like, I feel like this expansiveness in my heart and this kind of excitement in my abdomen. Okay. And how does it feel when you think of staying at the job that you're at? And it's like, I feel heavy. I feel like I have a headache and I feel contracted. Like, that's your answer.
Yeah, that's pretty blatant. Yeah. No questions there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Any other suggestions if they're not talking to you to do that? The
thing is that anxiety is usually not your intuition, right? Anxiety tends to be the brain. Intuition tends to be pretty clear and direct. It should feel like an exact answer. And I've been playing around with that a lot lately too. It's like, if I only went with what my immediate reaction to something was, or I listened to that little voice in my head that's like, yes, no, if I only went with what it said to me, what would I be doing? And I've practiced it, and it's really led me to some amazing things. But it does take practice. It's not, if we were all so amazing at just trusting our intuition, we would probably be happier and have a smoother experience. But we're also here on this planet to learn. It's a school.
Yeah.
So we're trying to learn, like, how can I up level? How can I use these tools?
Which is good, because it means that we're here to play. Yes. So we're also to lighten up and have fun. But one thing with that is, I was taught, when in doubt, do nothing. Mm-hmm. So if you're not sure, just wait, because the right answers come. And you actually do know. And but you have to wait till you're ready for the right answer. And I used to say, if there's a time limit on when I need to make that decision, I used to just ask the universe. I'm like, okay, I really am not getting it, so you need to be blatant. Like, let me know I need a blatant, and then I'm like expecting lightning bolts or something. Like, it's not going to happen, but that's what I'd be waiting for. And the worst thing that happens is you make a mistake. Okay. But take action. Like you got to take action. Life's about action, not sitting still.
Yeah. Yeah. And you make a really good point. It's like when you know, you know.
Yeah.
So if you're not at a place where you have that direct answer, then you know that you need a little more time. And sometimes we don't have the time. So that's when you start asking like, okay, send me a sign, send me the answer, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Oh, this is so great. So for anyone again, that hasn't listened to the episode, it's so good. I had friends call me up and go, "Oh my God, I love her." I go, I know. It's so good. We talked for so long after we were done recording. So yeah,
I love it.
I've
actually worked with quite a few of your people who found me through your podcast who are like, "Oh, I wanted to get a reading with you after I listened."
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, I didn't even know, but, I love that. Oh, that's so good. So of course, all of Natha's information is, well, if you know this, it's all listed under wherever you click to get this. And it's on the website and at the podcast, everything. And, any last words you want to say?
Yeah. I mean, I would just say like these are really exciting times. So anytime that you find yourself slipping into that stressful, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? This is never going to get better. Just remind yourself like that's the fear. It's coming into sabotage and it's not actually the reality because we have so much astrological energy that's here to help us transform everything about our lives that we don't like. So of course, some of that is like, it's like when you upgrade your house, moving is not fun. Nobody likes to move, but at the end you're like, ooh, now I'm in this big, gorgeous, light-filled house. So it's kind of like that. It's like, if you're in a place where you need to make a move, yeah, the move is going to be difficult, but you're going to end up somewhere better. So just don't lose sight of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good. And everything really does work out. It just does. Just take the action. Fear always rears its ugly head right before. I think it's human nature going, oh my God, what am I doing? Just keep going. Keep going. Doesn't matter what's going on. Just keep going. You're meant to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So, it was so fun to see you again.
Yay. Well, thank you for having me and thank you for everybody listening. And what a year. What a time to be alive.
Yeah, definitely.